My name is Jana Rehbein. I'm with the Volkswagen AG. And before we start into the sessions this afternoon, I would like to give you a short overview on the topics that we already talked about this morning and how they're connected to this afternoon's session. Now, we've already heard a little bit about the key challenges that we're facing when developing an automated driving system. And the main challenge is that we are operating in an open context. And with that open context comes high complexity and uncertainty, which we somehow need to cover. So we have a vast parameter space, which we somehow need to cover using finite resources. You've already heard in this morning about the assurance goals, but I want to do a short recap on those assurance goals now, because they will be important again. The first assurance goal that we have in VVM methods is the systematic control of test space. So we want to reduce the test cases from an infinite to a finite amount of number to ensure feasibility of testing. The second goal is consistent interfaces. So we want to promote synergies within the industry to ensure interchangeability between them. Our third goal is a shift to simulation. So in order to be more efficient, we want to shift a lot of testing from the real world to simulation. And the fourth and kind of overarching goal to all of these is argumentation. So the safety needs to be reasoned, and we need to make it understandable for everyone. In this session, we will only cover the first, second, and fourth goal. The third goal, if you're interested in that, is in the other parallel session. So, as I already said, we are operating in an open context, and with that, we have a problem with the complexity. We need to be able to somehow structure this open context, to be able to describe it with a model. And one way to do that in a scenario-based approach is to, first of all, be able to abstract the reality in a systematic way using an operational design domain, but also using a scenario model. And how this is done, you can see in these two talks later on. But even if we're able to describe the real world through models, we still are facing the problem that we have an infinite parameter space. And we somehow need to focus in this infinite parameter space and to focus our testing in these areas. And one way for us to do that and to identify what is relevant for us is using criticality analysis to first of all identify where we need to focus, but also to make sure that we consider everything that we need to focus on. And that also comes with a question on how we can quantify criticality and how we can measure it. And some of these questions are answered in the talks by Christian Noro and Martin Ban later on. When we develop an automated driving system, we need to rethink somehow on how we want to develop that system. It used to be that in the past, separate functions were defined separately and then tested as a whole in the end. But that is not really feasible anymore. We need to design a system that is safe from the beginning on. And that is why we have to design the system as a whole and to derive the safe system behavior from stakeholder requirements, which we can then validate in the end. So there's a shift that we have to somehow ensure safety by design. And how this traceability and also this safety by design can be ensured will be shown by a talk from Nayel Salam from TU Braunschweig later on. But even if we intend to design a safe system, we are still facing the problem that there will always be remaining risk. And we cannot get rid of that residual risk. We can only reason that the remaining risk for us is okay. So how we can deal with the risks and how we can accept the remaining risk is something that will be covered in a talk by Thomas Kirschbaum about the role of risk for safety assurance in development and operation. And in the end, the last question we have to answer is how can we reason that our automated driving system can behave safely in its environment? And that leads for a shift from the responsibility, comes from a shift from the responsibility from the driver to the automated driving system. And we can do that through argumentation. And how this can be done and how example or how the argumentation can be built up will be shown in these 3 talks later on. So I hope I was able to interest you in the talks that we are going to hear now. And stay tuned.